King Brujo, back at it again, having to bring to you guys the real information, things that happen behind the scenes. I was really done with this topic, as you guys probably seen, but when people come forth to bring stories about certain practitioners, it's just my duty to put it to you guys so that you know what you're dealing with. And that's just as me, also as a child of Eshu. Eshu is the universal policeman, and he's the one that makes sure that people are doing what they're supposed to do. And so it's just a civic duty to the spiritual community to bring forth people. So I have a sister right here. Queen, can you kind of introduce yourself?
Um, well, yeah, I'm someone that did work with Bokor. They call me Shakti. That's my name.
Okay. And so this is a sister that has had work done by Bokor. How long were you dealing with him?
Okay, so I started watching him when I first returned to spirituality. So I'll say around 2019 I discovered him on YouTube when he had the red screen, the red wall behind him. So I was watching him and all of that, and I got my first work done with him in 2021, I believe. I think if I go back to the receipts, 2021 or the end of 2020.
Okay. All right. And so like what was the nature of that type of work?
Okay, so I'm not going to 100% get into that work. So I would say some of it was money work,
Okay.
some of it was baneful work.
Okay. Cool.
Okay,
What he
some of
calls
it was protection work.
yeah, what he calls retribution.
Right.
Okay. So we know what that is.
Yep.
And so kind of take us through the process of that part of it to where you get to where you're at right now, where now we have to come forth and
Mm-hmm.
speak about business that wasn't so great. Kind of what was that process like leading up into this point?
Okay, so I let's put it like this. This man, um, I guess he's in some spiritual beef, I guess, with you and
Mm-hmm.
others, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm noticing certain things with the work that I got from him. So in the beginning, it was slapping. The work was doing, I guess, what it was supposed to do as far as it was supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm noticing, like, with the money work and all of that stuff, it's not hitting it. Or let's put it this way: money was frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's one. Um, then I'm asking them basically what's going on, like with as far as like with the baneful work, the retribution work.
Mm-hmm.
My ops were freaking, they're thriving.
Oh,
They're thriving.
right.
Brand new vehicles, jobs, gigs, all that stuff. They thriving, but my money seemed to have like froze. So I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm asking him, what's going on?
Mm.
And
So
he's like, oh, okay,
just
go ahead.
just before you go through that, right? And I
Yep.
just have to say this because a thing with Bokor is he can be very disrespectful to tradition,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's one outside of Haitian voodoo. So, oftentimes, like for instance, now he's going on to say, oh, you're going to need more than issue to do this and that. But understand that the reason that any work can even happen is because of issue. That is the
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
crossroad. You understand?
mm-hmm.
That's like saying that you don't need legba.
Yeah,
That's
but
why
when I got the work, when
no,
I got
I'm
the
just
work,
saying now, as we see now, it's ironic that like things are not flowing the same. Eshu is the distributor of Ashe. Remember, I'm a child of Eshu. That's my dad. That's Papa.
Mm-hmm.
That's my father. I
Mm-hmm.
go get you every 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
It just that's just a interesting thing. But you can carry on. So from there, your ops are thriving. They're doing very good for themselves. Your money
Right.
goes up.
Right.
How did this get to a point of contention with the two of you?
Well, I'm asking him questions. I was on the phone daily with him. So he says to me, well, you're living above your means. So I want you to hear this. He's saying that I'm living above my means. I took a trip here, I took trips there, and I shouldn't have did none of that. So I said to him, how am I? So basically, I'm living above my means by paying you $20K.
So
Do you understand what I'm saying?
20. So how much did you pay him?
For the work itself, I'm not talking about his readers. He had 3 readers.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not talking about that. And I'm not talking about gifts. And I'm not talking, and he's going to put out there because he told me, he said to me, I have reviews that you left me. Yeah, your work was good at one point, but right now it's not. And I want to know what's going on. So when I asked him what was going on, the exact amount, if you add up all of those receipts on the Cash App, that was all for different works, $23K.
Okay, so let me bring these receipts because some people are not going to believe it. So let me bring this up. So this is his Cash App right here.
Yep.
As you see, Bokor Leonard Elmera.
Yep.
I blanked out the rest of it.
Yep.
But
okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so as much as I could. And so basically, yeah, so that's his Cash App. These are the actual receipts.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, wow. So yeah, this is a lot. Okay, you got 3,800, 2,500,
Yep.
2,500,
Yep.
2,000,
Yep.
2,000,
Yep.
1,250,
Yep.
1,250,
Yep.
250,
Yep.
550.
Yep.
So not only do we have this, so
Yep.
here we go with 550, 700, 1,250, 1,000, 500, 500, 1,250, 12. Okay, so y'all get the picture. This is a lot of money, and I can't say what spiritualists should charge or not charge depending on the type of work, but this is a lot of money to spend on work that's not having a lasting effect.
Thank you.
That's not actually, and that's the thing, like, being raised in the tradition, my abuela, she would teach me, my role is to bring relief. So if my role is to bring relief, I have to charge enough for me to live, but not enough that it impacts the pocket too much of the person I'm helping, because I'm here to make relief. That's my job, right? But some people, depending on their situations, I know Bokor has other people that he has helped to carry out the work that they need to get paid too.
I
So
heard that.
it can be higher, and that's just something personally, me and him have talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that that's so, just same way how he sends you to other readers. But so that's pretty high, to spend 23K.
Yeah.
And the ops is lit right now.
Right.
And your money gets froze up. That
right.
I will be hot. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So okay.
Right.
You spent 23K. Golly. Like, I gotta get
now,
over that number.
Let me tell you something. Okay. The 23K I saw as an investment in myself.
Right, of course.
Understand what I'm saying?
Of course.
So the 23K, if I had it, whatever. I had it.
I'll say.
I'll get it back. No problem.
See,
you know what I'm saying?
And that's what that's supposed to be.
Right.
Investing in yourself. That's why people pay. It's no different than another service.
Right.
Your car service, but you're getting your spiritual health.
Spiritual maintenance.
Right? Yeah, spiritual maintenance. But that's a high number, even for that. Like, that's like initiation prices in like Cuba. You know what I mean? Like you yourself would be initiated into the mysteries
Right.
So
Right.
that's why I'm saying is like,
Right.
as
Right.
somebody that learned from elders that's very old school, that's I
Mm-hmm.
was just taught like, listen, this information that's for somebody to learn would have cost that much.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're doing the stuff for others, your job is to not break them, but to do good work for them and still sustain yourself. So find the balance in that, mijo. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how I was raised. But everybody, this is a capitalistic society. We don't know how people view what today because it's a new era. Everybody's not going to be old school like me. I'm just an old school ass brujo. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just that. But that's a lot. So when you had contention with the fact that like, yo, my ops is lit right now, my money is getting hemmed up, bro.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? When you brought that to him, how did he respond?
Okay, so the first time he was like, "Oh, this is how the work works. You're temporarily down." But this is what he said to me the first time, one of the first times, because I went to his reader.
Mm.
Um, his reader said, "I'll call you back in 10 minutes." That 10 minutes ended up 45 minutes later. So basically, she consulted with him first, right? And how do I know that
Right.
she did that? I'm gonna tell you how I know, because sometimes I just sit back and I listen. Okay, as much as I can talk shit, I can also listen, right? So she called back and she's like, "No, things are okay." Basically, basically, telling me everything is all right. Now, I like his reader, his current reader. She's a sweetheart. I do like her or whatever, as much as I can. Like, I never met her either.
Right.
So a few days later, I call him and I'm like, "Listen, this person got a gig, right? With a major star. Um, the piece just bought a Benz, a car, or whatever, a
Right.
new car. Um, but I usually okay. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm. My profession already. I told you before. I can get a job like that,
Mm.
no problem. I could take a month off. I could take 3 weeks to a month off. I'm good. Which I took 3 weeks off and I traveled, came back. Usually get a job like that. That wasn't even happening. That
Right.
wasn't even happening. So I'm like, yo, something is going on. All right. So I'm like, all of this stuff is happening with me. Right.
Mm.
So he's like, oh, just, be patient. It's going to turn around. Then he told me a story about another client and whose ops was getting the money. Then all of a sudden they found him hanging from wherever. He told me some story. So I was like, all right, no problem. Walked away, didn't feel 100% okay with it. I had more questions than answers.
Mm.
That's when I first started having more questions than answers. And I would say that from the month of August, mid-August, when I started like talking to him like almost daily. I'm like, what's going on? Right?
Right.
And he's like, you panicking, and this, that, and the third. So then it got to the point where it was recently, a few days ago. I don't know when the dates of that text I sent you, but
Okay.
he tells me, move. There's no money in where I live at. No money in the state. I'm like, move.
Mm.
I'm like, no. What I can do is travel to another state, work, then come back. Do you understand what I'm saying? I can do that.
Okay.
But move, that's not gonna happen. So he's like, well, I can't help you. I can't help you. I don't know what to tell you. Hangs the phone up on me.
Mm.
So I called back and I said to him, I paid you well over 20 grand, right?
Right.
20 grand. And we talking about work only. We're not talking about your Versace robe that I bought you. We're not talking about Cuban cigars that I sent to you from Tulum.
Oh.
We're not talking about that.
Okay.
We're not talking about that. And he got 2 Versace robes.
Oh, so you're the one who
That,
bought the robe he always wears.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay, it makes sense. Go ahead.
All right. So, and you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, we're not talking about that stuff. We're talking about the work itself. 20K. And you hang the phone up on me? I said, I paid, and he was trying to get his a word in edgewise, and I said, I don't even want to hear what you have to say now. Now, at this point, I don't want to hear what you have to say because you disrespected me.
Mm.
So, in between, in the interim of him hanging up on me, me talking to him every day, and him hanging up on me, he did a YouTube video about, is it like, I don't know if it's still up, but he did a YouTube video. And basically, he was saying, so the spirit has blessed you and you squandered all your money. Whose problem is that? Whose problem is that? So you go on these expensive trips and this, that, and the third, and you living well above your means and blah, 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 blah. This is what he's saying in the video. So I called him after I called him out on that. He's like, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about another client. Oh, so you have a few clients that, oh, okay. It's just, so,
I'm gonna say, other people have reached out to me about him, but a lot of people are afraid to say anything. But yeah, also other clients have reached out to me about similar things occurring with him. It's just that, like I said, those people are afraid. So they're not willing to speak against it. So once again, kudos to you, Queen, for not being afraid to speak your truth. But yeah, you can.
Why I'm not afraid. I'm gonna tell you why I'm not afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I told you I got a reader.